Medico Important Simplified channel. So now we are going to learn a very important topic in gynecology, which is the development of female internal genitalia. It's also a very interesting topic, guys, so stay focused, okay, and listen properly. So the development of female internal genitalia. So first let's look at the ducts in intrauterine life. So basically, whether it is a male or a female, there are always two pairs. There are always two pairs of ducts, okay, that is present in the intrauterine life. What are these two pairs of duct? So there are these two pairs that is known as, very important, a Mullerian duct and a Wolffian duct. So Mullerian duct is otherwise known as paramesonephric duct. Very important mnemonic. M does not go with M. Okay, so remember like this, M does not go with M, because I know many students get confused. Okay, they tell Mullerian is mesonephric. No, Mullerian duct, M does not go with M, so it is otherwise known as paramesonephric duct, and Wolffian duct is otherwise known as mesonephric duct. So the origin of Mullerian duct is, it is from the invagination of coelomic epithelium. Okay, it is an invagination of the coelomic epithelium, whereas the Wolffian duct is the origin will be intermediate mesoderm. Intermediate mesoderm will be the origin of the Wolffian duct. The main point that you need to know is the Mullerian duct forms the female internal genitalia. Okay, see, Mullerian duct is always going to be for female. Remember like this, Mullerian is also always going to be for female. Okay, it's going to be for female. Mullerian is also always for female, whereas Wolffian duct, remember wolf is a very, wolf, which means more testosterone. Okay, very virulent. So wolf means Wolffian duct is always going to form a male internal genitalia. So Mullerian duct, it's Mullerian duct or paramesonephric duct is going to be forming the female. Wolffian duct, wolf-like, so it's going to be forming male internal genitalia. Just for fun mnemonics, guys. Now coming to Wolffian duct. So in Wolffian duct, the first Wolffian duct, if you look, it is the first duct to develop. Okay, so they will ask in MCQ, what is the first duct to develop, and it is the Wolffian duct. After Wolffian duct only, Mullerian duct always develops. Okay, so always Wolffian duct is first, and next only is going to be followed by your Mullerian duct. So remember, always male will be developing and then only the female. Okay, so the template, in template for Mullerian duct formation, okay, Wolffian duct is basically like a template for the Mullerian duct formation. And failure to grow, if suppose say the Wolffian duct fails to grow, which means the Mullerian duct is going to be also absent. Okay, so always Wolffian duct is like a template for Mullerian duct, and if the Wolffian duct fails to grow, then obviously the Mullerian duct also will not grow, it will be absent. Now Mullerian duct. So Mullerian duct is also associated with, okay, some renal anomalies. So if any Mullerian duct anomaly, you need to rule out any renal anomaly. Okay, always rule out renal anomalies. It carries a fold or a sheath of coelomic epithelium bilaterally. So this coelomic epithelium, already we know that Mullerian duct is going to be formed by the coelomic epithelium, whereas the Wolffian duct is going to be formed by the intermediate mesoderm. So a fold of sheath of the coelomic epithelium will be forming the broad ligament. Okay, so Mullerian duct is there. It is going to be having a sheath of coelomic epithelium, which will further form the broad ligament. Now in females, at around 9 weeks, very important, MCQs always ask, that is the weeks. So when does Mullerian duct form? By 9 weeks, okay, of gestation, Mullerian duct forms the internal genital organs. Okay, so Mullerian duct will be forming all the internal genital organs. What internal genital organs will Mullerian duct form? The female. Okay, Mullerian duct forms the female internal genital organs by 9th week. And at 10th week, the Wolffian duct will be regressing and forming remnants. Okay, so the Wolffian duct regresses and forming remnants. Similarly, suppose this is what I am talking is in females. So in females, basically what occurs, the Mullerian duct, in if suppose a fetus, okay, if suppose the sex should be a male, okay, what should be the condition, and if it should be a female, what should be the condition? So if it is a female, then there must be Mullerian duct should be there, but Wolffian duct should not be there. It should regress. So this will occur. Mullerian duct will be forming around 9 weeks, and this Wolffian duct will be regresses around 10 weeks. This is exactly the opposite in case of a male. In male, Wolffian duct should be there and Mullerian duct should regress. Right? That's the concept. Now, what are all the remnants of this Wolffian duct? That is what we are going to study now. So, the remnants of the Wolffian duct are, first, where is the location of the Wolffian duct location? It's going to be the broad ligament. Okay, the broad ligament. So the remnants of Wolffian duct, that is going to, all the remnants of the Wolffian duct will be present. All the remnants of the Wolffian duct will be located in the broad ligament. So what are the three main remnants is epooperon, paraooperon, Gartner's duct. Very, very important. The remnants of the Wolffian duct are three remnants. Okay, all these three are important. Epooperon, paraooperon and Gartner's duct. Remember, epooperon, paraooperon, Gartner's duct. So, if you look at epooperon, it is the cranial remnant. Okay, it is the cranial remnant. So, your epooperon is your cranial remnant. Your paraooperon is your caudal remnant. And your Gartner's duct is going to be a remnant of the mesonephric duct. Very, very important. Again, Gartner's duct is the remnant of the mesonephric duct. Okay. So again, I am revising the remnants of Wolffian duct. All the remnants will be located in the broad ligament. It comprises mainly three things. That is epooperon, which is the cranial remnant, paraooperon, which is the caudal remnant, and Gartner's duct, which is the remnant of the mesonephric duct. So both this epooperon and paraooperon is going to be of the mesonephric tubule. So this much is more than sufficient, guys. So let's look at this beautiful figure. Okay, it's a beautiful figure representing the entire development of the gonads. So be careful, be focused. So yeah, first is, these are just structures right here. Okay, these oval structures right here are your gonads. Okay, these are your gonads. And the yellow one, the yellow color structure that you're seeing here is your urogenital sinus. This yellow structure is your urogenital sinus. What is the significance of urogenital sinus? It will be the developing bladder. So here you have your urogenital sinus. Now, surrounding the gonads, you are going to have a structure which is the mesonephros. So surrounding the gonads is going to be your mesonephros. And so this is your mesonephros over here. This structure over here is your, this structure over here is your mesonephros. Okay. Now, if you look at this, there is a next to the mesonephros, you are going to be having your mesonephric ducts. Okay, so this is your mesonephric duct, and so these are your, okay, this is your mesonephric duct, and beside the mesonephric duct, what you have a funnel shaped opening. Okay, funnel shape, there is a funnel shaped opening of the paramesonephric duct, and this blue color structure that you are seeing here. So this blue color structure that you are seeing here okay, is your paramesonephric duct. So mesonephric duct is also known as Wolffian duct. Your paramesonephric duct is otherwise known as Mullerian duct. Okay, so and then very simple. So you are having your this pink color structure is your mesonephric duct or Wolffian duct, and para means beside it, parallel to the mesonephric duct, you are going to have your paramesonephric duct, that is your Mullerian duct. So both this duct is going to be connected. Okay, both this duct, both of on either side, all these either side ducts will be joining. Okay, will be joining to form the uterovaginal primordium. This structure is your uterovaginal primordium. And this structure, this pink color structure over here, that is giving connecting to the urogenital sinuses will be your ureter. So this is a beautiful diagram representing the development of gonads. Now let's look at a beautiful diagram for remnants of the Wolffian duct. So what are the three remnants? Epooperon, this is the cranial remnant. All, see here you have your broad ligament, guys. The green color structure that I am going to be drawing, this is your broad ligament, okay, that is connecting all your fallopian tube as well as your ovary, okay. So this is basically your secondary support of the uterus, right? Broad ligament. So broad ligament consists of epooperon, paraoperon. So epooperon cranial remnant, paraoperon is your caudal remnant, and the third one is your Gartner's duct. So this one is your Gartner's duct. So these are all your, see, this is this Gartner's duct is nothing but these are all mesonephric remnants, okay. So these are the remnants of Wolffian duct. Now let's talk about Gartner's cyst. What do you mean by Gartner's cyst? So Gartner's cyst means the presentation is going to be like a swelling. So this figure that you can see here, this swelling over here is your Gartner's cyst. This Gartner's cyst will be presenting like a swelling, and the location is in the anterolateral wall of the vagina. So if there is vagina, in the anterolateral wall, okay, this is your vagina, in the anterolateral wall, okay, in the anterolateral wall will be your Gartner's cyst. This structure over here is your Gartner's cyst, okay. So this Gartner's cyst will be presenting like a swelling, okay, in the anterolateral wall of the vagina. Now what are the DDs of Gartner's cyst? First main DD is your Bartholin's cyst. So generally all the students will be confused between Gartner's cyst and Bartholin's cyst. Gartner's cyst always present in the anterolateral wall of the vagina, keep in mind, whereas Bartholin's cyst will be present in the present outside the vestibule, okay. So yeah, so it is outside the vestibule, that is between the labia majora and the labia minora. So between the labia majora, it's totally outside the vestibule, and between the labia majora and minora, whereas cystocele is an anterior vaginal wall prolapse. So any anterior vaginal wall prolapse is going to be your cystocele. Now how will you differentiate between Gartner's cyst and cystocele is a always favorite question, okay. So how are you going to differentiate between Gartner's cyst and cystocele? First, with the reducibility nature. Gartner's cysts are generally not reducible, whereas a cystocele, it's a seal, right? It is obviously reducible. Now next feature is rugosities. In Gartner's cyst, there will be absent rugosities due to stretching of the vaginal epithelium. So in Gartner's cyst, the rugosities will be absent due to stretching of the vaginal epithelium. Okay, so in Gartner cyst there will be absent rugosities. The rugosities in Gartner cyst will be absent mainly due to stretching of the vaginal epithelium. So because of the vaginal epithelium stretching, whereas the rugosities in cystocele will be present. In Gartner cyst, rugosities again will be absent. The third one, if you do cuff impulse, it is absent. Remember all this reducibility, rugosities, cuff impulse, all will be absent in Gartner cyst. Whereas reducibility, rugosities, cuff impulse, all will be present in cystocele. That's the main difference. So if you look at the general clinical features, okay, it's asymptomatic, it's difficulty in intercourse, complaints of something coming out of the vagina. So the management will be, it is if it is asymptomatic, you don't need to do anything. If symptomatic, just remove the cyst, that's all. A surgery, simple surgery. Now moving on to the female internal genitalia. The composition is, as you know, the fallopian tube, the uterus, the cervix, the vagina. So let's look at the development of each. So for a female development, the Mullerian duct should be there and Wolffian duct should regress. Now there are two Mullerian ducts, left Mullerian duct and right Mullerian duct. Now each will be forming, okay, one half of each will be one half. Okay, remember, one half of each will be forming a fallopian tube, a uterus, a cervix, and upper 1/3 of vagina. Remember, don't get confused, it is upper 1/3 of vagina. So fallopian tubes, the uterus, the cervix, the upper 1/3 of the vagina, all just will be formed by one half of each of the Mullerian duct. Now both the Mullerian duct initially by the left Mullerian duct, it will be lying lateral to the Wolffian duct, and just Mullerian duct will be crossing the Wolffian duct to meet the midline. Okay, so remember, that is, it will fuse. Initially the two Mullerian ducts will be separate like this. Okay, say suppose this is your right Mullerian duct, this is your left Mullerian duct. Both are separate, right? This is separate, right is separate, and left is separate. Now what will happen is, slowly both the Mullerian ducts will be starting to fuse. Okay, so both the Mullerian ducts will start fusing, and the fusing direction will be below to upwards. Okay, it's like this. This is the direction. So your direction is like this. So this is the fusion. The fusion will be starting from below upwards direction. Now there is a complete fusion. So after complete fusion, there is going to be septa that is forming. Okay, so while the fusion process, there is a septa that is going to be formed in between the two Mullerian ducts. And now slowly what will occur is, this septa will resolve. Again the direction is below upwards. And after, when this septa resolves below upward direction, it forms a single uterine cavity. This is how beautifully it's forming a single uterine cavity. Okay, so slowly the septa will be forming. Slowly both the Mullerian ducts will start fusing below upwards. Then the septa will be formed. After the septa will resolve slowly again from the below upwards direction, and lastly a single uterine cavity will be formed. And this is the fundus of uterus that becomes dome shaped. So at last the fundus of the uterus will become dome shaped. So let's look at some milestones. Okay, so when does the complete fusion of Mullerian duct occur? The complete fusion of Mullerian duct occurs by, very important MCQ, 10 weeks of intrauterine life. 10 weeks of intrauterine life. Remember, complete fusion of Mullerian duct occurs around 10 weeks of intrauterine life. Then septa resolves, or there is a single septa. The question can be when will the septa resolve, or the question can be when does a single uterine cavity formed. That is going to be just add 10 weeks more. It is going to be around 20 weeks of intrauterine life. 20 weeks is nothing but 5th month of pregnancy. 5th month is always very special in pregnancy. For what? For fetal movements. Remember, another important feature for 5th month of pregnancy, 20 weeks of pregnancy, is the septa will be resolving and a single uterine cavity is going to be formed in the 5th month of pregnancy. Next is the endometrium is going to be differentiated by what? Same 20 weeks of intrauterine life. Remember, the endometrium is differentiates by 20 weeks of intrauterine life. Now the ovary. The ovaries will develop from the genital ridge. This is another favorite question, genital ridge. So the ovaries will develop always from the genital ridge. Okay, ovaries develop from genital ridge. So we talked about the upper 1/3 of vagina being formed by the 1/2 of the Mullerian duct, right? Now, what about the lower 2/3 of the vagina? Now, the lower 2/3 of the vagina develops from the urogenital sinus. Obviously, what is in the down? The down you have the urinary bladder formation and all. So similarly, the lower 2/3 of the vagina is going to be developing from the urogenital sinus. So the lower 2/3 of the vagina develops from the urogenital sinus. And both of this, ovary being developing from the genital ridge and lower 2/3 of vagina being developed from the urogenital sinus, these both are going to be unaffected in Mullerian malformations. Both, either the ovary or either the lower 2/3 of vagina being developed from genital ridge or urogenital sinus, it is going to be unaffected in case of any Mullerian malformations. Now, very important, this can be also a short note. Remember, this can be also a short note. Write a short note on the Mullerian malformations. Okay, so far we have covered all the basics of the development of female internal genitalia. The Mullerian malformation is a very short note and will be covered in the next video. So to stay tuned, please do like, subscribe and share this channel with your friends. Thank you.